Welcome to our weekly Q&A show where we answer submitted questions live on YouTube on Tuesdays at 2 p.m.
What's up, Aaron?
Hey, good morning. How's it going, Zach?
Good morning. It's 2 o'clock.
Well, it's 11 o'clock here, so yeah, it's still morning here. But yeah, man, it's looking warm there. Is it hot? You got the heat wave going there in Oregon?
It's warm. It's not hot. I missed the heat wave. I was in the Middle Fork when it was like 108 here, but it's probably like 85, 90 out there right now.
So yeah, it's kind of funny. Everyone was talking about this heat wave when I was out in Idaho for that too, and it was like it was like warm hat in the morning, long pants, a sweatshirt on. Yeah, it was great.
It was never cool out there, but it was it was hot here, and it's like it's warm here right now. But my little gear dungeon, there's no AC. It's just like a little place, so it kind of heats up right now. Anyway, nobody cares about that. Good to see you, Aaron. Everybody, welcome to the show. It is our Tuesday Q&A show where we answer questions that were submitted to us. And do you want to know how to submit questions? Aaron, do you know how people can submit questions?
They can email Zach at
No. I don't want. If you want to submit questions, you're gonna have to you have to figure it out. It's like a golf course. It's like a hide and go seek. Like try to figure out how to submit the question to us, and we'll do our best to get it and find it.
You can just send it to me, Aaron at riversandoceans.com.
Boom. That's the best way to go. Someday we're gonna have a website, and we're gonna have a place people can submit a question, and it's official. But between now and then, we have to do it the boring way.
I can put one on. I can take care of that for you, Zach. I can put a place to submit a website. Okay.
Yeah. Do it. Do it like Rivers and Oceans or brexpeditions.com /questions or Gear Garage. Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, brexpeditions.com /Gear Garage.
/Gear Garage. You could be the hub for all things Gear Garage. When people Google Gear Garage, you could be number one.
Yeah, that would be great, wouldn't it? Yeah, I know. Yep. And then I'll send them to better, more useful information.
And for those of you that don't know, Aaron has a website, brexpeditions.com. Check it out. Tons of information. We should be promoting your website more.
I just let it do its own thing. It's not really. It's more of a little. It's not something that I'm like, oh yeah, this is it. It was more. You got me started doing it. You told me that if I was thinking about being an outfitter, I need to have a website. So I started playing around with the little website. I didn't realize that being an outfitter is not what I want to do. So
now you have a website. By the way, what does BR stand for right now? I know you've changed what BR stands for. What does it stand for today?
Best Rafting Expeditions.
Best Rafting Expeditions.
Total sellout for the SEO. Everyone's site types in best for everything. So I got my best.
No, that's good. That's smart. The best is smart. So before we get started with questions, this is our Q&A show where we just answer questions. You can ask a question. Just throw it up there. I see one already. And just ask us a question. And we have questions people submitted over the past couple of weeks while I've been gone. The show's normally on Tuesdays at 2 p.m., but I've been gone for a while. And Aaron was gone the week before. And so we were doing a special Wednesday edition just to get caught up with questions. And we'll go back to the regular schedule next week. Before I start, we have a trivia question, a user-submitted trivia question. And I know some of you are frustrated with California-based questions, but this is a California-based question. And the question is, where did the rapid India get its name from?
Should we tell them what river we're talking about? The rapid
No. That makes it even harder. There's only one India rapid out there.
Okay.
It's the only India. So if you know, maybe it's not in California. Maybe it's in Colorado. And all our one Colorado follower.
Maybe it's in India.
Probably not, though. But we already gave a hint. It's in California. And I don't think you can even Google this answer. This is a tough one. It's a goodie and a toughie.
Oh, yeah. So is there a choice of cool prizes if they get this?
Oh, they get prizes. I have them ready to go. You can win this. This is an SDG ladder that I won in a race. I got like 5th place or something and won this.
That was the 5th place award. Wow. Man.
It's actually second from last. I think Dougie and I came in 7th. I think that's our 7th place award. You can win Cobra Orlocks if you want to win some Cobra Orlocks. And you have to be a member. Oh, yeah, by the way, thank you, Idaho Zen, for being a member. We appreciate your membership. If you're a member, you can win a prize by answering the trivia questions. So these Cobra Orlocks. I also have some NRS Orlocks that you could take if you wanted to. I wouldn't suggest it. Bad idea. We love you, NRS. We want you to sponsor us. But your Orlocks shouldn't be used by whitewater. These are great for if you're paddling lakes. But if you want the NRS ones, you can take them. Or you can win Tim Palmer's book, coffee table book, The Rivers of Oregon. And the question again is, where did the Rapid India get its name from? I don't think anybody's going to get this one. This is a tough question.
No.
I don't think anybody's going to get it. It's in a book I have. The answer is in a book I have right there, I think. But I don't think Google's going to have the answer. So anyway, Idaho Zim, thanks for becoming a member. And should we get started?
Yeah, let's do it.
We'll start here. Solo rafting. Back to this topic, one of our favorites. I can already tell you, I'm gonna say you shouldn't solo raft. That's just my answer. All right.
If you want to get permission to solo raft, don't come here.
Don't come here. But we'll read the question. I'm not gonna read it out loud. Everybody can read this on your own, I think. If you're just listening, I'm sorry. I'm not going to read it to you.
Well, the basic synopsis of the question, if you are listening, is they're saying, hey, if we're looking at like the Rogue or the Salmon, are you really solo boating if you're on the Rogue or the Salmon? Or another, and I'm assuming another busy river, like the South Fork, the American River in the middle of the summer. And
you're still solo boating. Aaron, you missed the last episode where we talked about the rescue curve, where it goes, and we'll have to talk about this again. It goes like, like being safe is the safest thing. It's over here. Safe is just prevention, safest. Then self-rescue next. And then your team rescue next. And then other people next. And then below that's utter disaster. And so other people, even though there's other people on other rivers, like the South Fork American, there's a million boats. They may not care, or they may not even just be aware enough or able to rescue you. Even if you see other groups.
But in the middle of the summer, where it's boat to 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 boat going back upstream, where like you can't help but pick up the swimmer. Like you fall out, you're going to run into.
It depends what the rescue is. Is the rescue a flip boat? Is it you swimming? Is it a wrap?
It doesn't matter. I'm going to say this.
Okay.
I think the problem, my bigger concern about having an incident on like the South Fork of the American this summer is you're going to have too much help.
And the wrong help. That's the thing is like there's people who can help you that make it worse.
Oh, totally. But you know what? Even if you have a team of people and you're there with 3 boats, those people are still going to try to get involved. So I would say the danger on some of those rivers is more the opposite.
Yeah.
Is that you're going to have a bunch of sketchy help that you don't want. So
yeah,
but I think there's something to be said that you're right there. Everything, nothing is just like black and white. There's always a spectrum. And like Mark Rivers, great point. You trust other random people to help you, to know how to help you. That's a good point. So, and like, it's one of the things like, hey, I'm pretty darn confident that I'm not going to have a problem, but I'm smart to know that I'm decreasing my risk of being out there with other people. Yeah, you are decreasing your risk.
Like solo boating where there's nobody is obviously worse than solo boating when there's people around you. But just because there's people around you doesn't mean they're going to rescue you competently.
Totally.
I was just in the Middle Fork. We didn't see people on like other groups for 95% of the trip. So it's not like there's people everywhere. Like we saw people on the whole 100 miles for maybe a 5-mile section of the entire trip. So there's not always people.
That's unusual. And I'll say,
I don't think it's unusual. It's not the Middle Fork's not as crowded as you think, Aaron. I know you think it's like boat to boat, but there's not always another group there. And using a Middle Fork permit to go solo, it's kind of messed up. Although we did see a 1-boat 2-person trip.
And that sounds like, I will say that sounds really fun.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen those types of trips in Grand Canyon as well. And I'm like, that would be a really cool way to experience the river. Like to just be someplace that big by yourself. It would be amazing, but there's increased risk for sure. And how do you quantify that risk and how much risk is there? And yes, it's less if there's other people around. In general, I prefer to have 2 boats at least. I think that's much better. And so, yeah.
And I mean, the 1 boat, I'm going to say, we talked about this topic a bunch. It's come up again. I'm happy to keep talking about it because if you look, we should pull up the data again. I want to pull up the AW thing and see if anybody's died solo boating this week. People die boating by themselves more often than you would think. And so he says the reward outweighs the risk. He understands the risk.
Zach, this is a little bit of a tangent, but going out surfing is interesting because you paddle out by yourself a lot.
Mm-hmm.
and it's I think about a lot like with rafting. It's like I'm kind of solo boating out here, and it's amazing there aren't more people who die out there, but people do. You know, and then no one notices like, oh, there's this body there or something like that. So it's an interesting problem, and I think it's a problem with water sports in general, and it's something to pause and reflect upon. Is that you're definitely increasing the risk dramatically by not being part of a team, and it's more fun boating with other people. It makes your shuttle easier. It makes everything easier. So
I just did this trip with this guy who was on our trip, and he's a private boater who joined us. And he just doesn't have a friend group yet. And so he booked a trip with us, which is an expensive way to go boating, right? And I made him like, he wanted to wear his Astro Green jacket. And I was like, you can wear it sometimes, but not in a ducky, right? And so like he had to follow my rules, which he wasn't stoked on. He's accepted it. But, when you come on a commercial trip, you have to follow like our rules in terms of expectations for safety.
How big was he, Zach? Was he a big dude?
He's big enough that you shouldn't be wearing a green jacket in a ducky.
Yeah.
Like that.
I mean,
like,
most guys say most males are.
Yeah, I mean, over 180 pounds. Yeah. It seems like a no-brainer to me that you are like. I could see, I'd let him wear an oar boat because if he falls out of the oar boat, it's like the odds are super low. There's an oar boat, a guy there to pull him in. But ducking, where swimming is part of the experience, and you could be swimming in the worst part of a hole, and there may not be a close by rescue. It's just. That was a decision I made.
You can go someplace you don't want him to go. Part of the river, you're like, oh, God, yeah.
In the oar boat, I was like, you can wear your fancy vest. I always like to go. I pulled up the AW database every time we talk about solo boating. I bring this up. There's not a lot. Like there haven't been recent solo boating fatalities. It looks like, but man, a lot of no PFDs here. A surprising number of no PFDs. PFD not worn. PFD not worn. It's a lot of no PFDs. Wow, this is the most no PFDs I've ever seen. The Salmon River, there was a flush drowning. I didn't even know about this last week. Wow. Anyway, I always have to bring this. I always have to bring this up when we talk about solo boating.
Totally.
How about solo boarding? Solo boat. What is he even talking about? Willie Bum Bum. Solo board surfing the river. Huh. I don't know. Sounds like a bad idea. Becky, thanks for the heads up. We appreciate your support. And if you win if you figure out why the river was named India, we'll count you as a contestant today. All right, here we go. High flow PFDs sometimes don't fit well with the ducky backrest.
What?
Do you want to play the good cop or the bad cop here, Aaron? Which one do you want to have?
I'm gonna say Blue Boomer. Usually, your input is like encouraged and appreciated and insightful. And I have
but this time,
are we talking about the high float with the head resting on it? But I don't really understand. Like the back is what, because it's this thick versus this thick. I mean, the thickness on the back is minimally different. I don't understand how.
It depends on the PFD and the ducky. Are we talking about those extra sports to go all the way down? That are
you're right. I forgot about the extra sport. Yes,
and then there's that one. Right. And that depends on the ducky. Like if it's a Sotar ducky, it's just a little tube behind you. If some of the air duckies, they have like actual seats.
Yeah.
And they go really high. So it depends. I'm gonna say, like, not wearing a high flow PFD because it's not comfortable or convenient. Suspect. I'm gonna say that.
I'm gonna agree though. The extra sport ones would not work well. Those ones with the lower layer that you could fold up, that would be uncomfortable. But the modern ones, like if you can't get your hands on one of those old MTI ones or the NRS one,
the NRS Big Water, the NRS Big Water Guide, 22 pounds or whatever.
22 pounds, or the MTI 26 pounds. I got one here actually, Zach.
I think not wearing an appropriate PFD because the backrest is uncomfortable. Let's try to solve that problem. And maybe it's a different backrest. Maybe it's a different PFD. Maybe it's just being a little uncomfortable. Something like that. No PDF tuber fatality. Ouch.
On the Wenatchee, huh?
I'm saying I'm right. I'm just saying. Yeah, no, I'm with you. Hey, trust me. I'm going to wear a lower float PFD when I ducky. So I'm with you. I get it. But I'm not going to promote that. Depends on ducking.
But it's a good point.
Depends on ducking.
It depends on what, because there's certain rivers you're ducking that like there's so little water in it. It's like your PFD's not like you almost don't need a PFD on this certain rivers you're rafting. It doesn't really almost make a difference. Do you know what I mean? When you're ducking something really, really low volume, I'm still gonna wear one, but like on the jet boat, can your head even go underwater on the jet
You can't.
boat?
Yeah, I can. You for PFD. There's like sieves and things. You definitely want a PFD. And not only for flotation, but to protect your body from the rocks.
Padding.
So it's padding for the rocks too. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not an angel here on this topic. I'm just gonna take a semi-high horse and say you should be wearing high flow PFDs. And I'm not perfect, but if I was ducking the Grand Canyon, I'd probably wear I'd wear a higher flow PFD. If I was ducking like some hard whitewater, like the Green Truss or the Wind, I'd throw on something else than a lower flow PFD. But if it's something where it's lower consequence and I'm well below my ability level, I might do a lower flow PFD. And so going back to the topic of solo boating, I mean, I think we've talked about this before. If you're going to do it, which we don't recommend, you need to be probably boating stuff 2 grades below your level. So if the Rogue, like if the Rogue is at your skill level, you probably shouldn't boat it. But if you're a class 5 boater, all right, solo boating the Rogue might not be as dangerous. But if you're at your ability level, then it's suspect. I think that's more important.
That makes sense to me. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So this goes on. Seems like the question becomes: is it fair to other boaters on the river to boat solo because they have to rescue you? I think his point is like, if you're going to depend on other boaters to rescue you, in the case, is it fair to them?
I mean, if I'm the lead boat and I have some problems, there's a high probability someone from a downstream raft is going to rescue me. And if
there's a downstream raft,
yeah, and then I mean, yeah, I mean, I think you got to really think about. I agree though. There's a problem where certain people sit there and they're like, they think, oh hey, the other people will take care of this. I don't need to bring this safety gear. Someone else on the river will have it. Like I've known people who've had that mentality, and I don't agree with that. I think you have to be careful. You have to be careful about taking this too far in terms of that mentality. Does that make sense? What I'm saying, like,
sort of.
Yeah, really. we all want to look out for each other. We're a community, but don't expect someone to be there for you. I guess that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'll give you my perspective. If I'm private boating and I have time. Like, I don't know, if I'm going after work, I got to get home, like meet my wife for dinner. It's going to take a lot of me. If it's just your boat stuck, I'm not going to rescue you. If it's a possible injury or fatality, I'm like, all right, I'll miss the date with my wife. Right. So it depends if I have time. But if I have time, doing rescues for people is fun. People enjoy it. Like there's a learning experience. Everybody loves to be a hero. And so like, if I have time, I'm like, oh, cool. I got to go practice my rescue and look really cool. Maybe I'll get some photos. So I think people generally like doing rescues and so they're happy to help. Yeah. But you're probably, depending on other people to rescue, you're going to get some weird leadership stuff happening. You're going to get some machismo and some alpha males and females coming in and causing some problems. So you're going to get some suspect stuff. If I'm commercially boating, and sometimes we had a 22-mile day this last week on the Middle Fork at kind of lowish water. I needed to make miles. Like I was looking at getting at camp at 4:00, best case scenario. So if I see, in the morning, somebody pinned, I don't really want to rescue them. I have miles to make, right? And I don't want my guests to sit in the sun. I have responsibility for them while we go rescue somebody. But if it's a short day and our guests are cool with it, they would enjoy the experience, I'd be happy to help. So the answer is it depends.
Zach?
Yeah.
Is someone who's running a sweet boat considered a solo boater?
Yeah. Yeah. So I've solo boated a lot.
I'm going to say this used to happen to us a lot when I was working on the Mill Fork. Is far and away their sweet boat drivers weren't that good that year, and they kept getting stuck. But they would keep their trip behind ours, so our trip would always catch up to their boats and have to help them over and over and over again.
That's not fair.
No, but that's what happened.
That kind of thing's not fair. Yeah. I think I had a problem. I mean, I wasn't solo boating, but I got stuck in that hole last year on the Middle Fork, and I had private boaters help me get out when I was paddle boating. But I don't think I've ever had Another group helped me on the sweep. I don't like, not that I can remember.
You know what was really funny is one of the people in our group, they went to catch him afterwards, and then this person was bragging how her son rows sweep boats for far and away, and he's never gotten stuck in his life. And they're like, "Oh, really?" And she's like, "Oh, never gotten stuck." And so then they could pull out photos. We'd helped them so many times that they were just taking photos of us helping them. So they pull out photos like, "Is this your son?"
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh, yeah, that's my son."
Everybody's gotten stuck.
I know that was the part of it.
Everybody's gotten stuck. So on the sweep boat, that never you things you don't want to have happen, or you want to be able to. You don't want your group to catch up with you. So your goal is to not have if you get stuck, get it off before your group or somebody else catches up with you, and you don't want to miss camps. So the things to be proud of as a sweep boat driver is I've never missed a camp, and I've never been caught by the group. Those are things but everybody's been stuck. Come on.
Yeah. No, that was the part was just like, what? Yeah, come on. We got a lot of questions here.
All right, here we got Becky. It isn't fair if you need help. Hold on. It isn't fair if you need help. If you fly through without incident, maybe okay. Yeah, I think it's a bit it's a bit much to ask people to have to rescue you. I think I'm gonna say it's not fair to other boaters. It's not, because you're depending on their resources. How are you giving back? You're only taking. You're not helping. You're probably not going to be able to help other people.
Well, but that's the thing is, Zach, is like you've helped other people in the river and other people helped you.
Yeah. But you're like, I'm not going into the trip expecting to be helped. I'm not like, it's like going on a trip without a first aid kit. That's not fair.
Yeah, exactly.
Same
without
thing.
Your sweep, without your wrap kit, all that stuff. Yes.
I'm not saying don't like never do it. I'm just saying it's a good question to ask, and I'm gonna say no. If you're asking me, I'm gonna say not fair.
Becky,
Becky, you're on the right track. You're very
on the right
close.
track. Yeah, you're getting close. Yeah.
Sorry if I missed you talking about the beginning of the show, but how was the Selway, Aaron, in the middle for Zach? How was the Selway, Aaron?
It was beautiful. We had good water. I mean, it was really nice how in May and June, the water, the snowpack was increasing during those months because all the precipitation got out there. So we had great water. And the weather was really nice. And I'll say the best part was getting to drive like 16 hours in the car straight. Living in Hawaii, you drive around the whole island in an hour. And so I got to do a nice long car ride.
You wanted to be in a car for 16 hours straight. I was in a car for 11 hours yesterday. I was over it.
Well, it wasn't. I took a break, but over 2 days, 16 hours, and it was really fun. So yeah, the whole thing, gorgeous. I love that river. It's a great place. So Zach, which is better, the Selway or the Middle Fork?
Let me answer Joni's question first. How was the Middle Fork? It was amazing, and like the crew I get to work with is cool, but the guests on the trip were so cool. Just some of the nicest people, like genuine. Everybody came from different corners of the country and immediately bonded and got along, and it was a big family at the end. It was the coolest part is, we do it last night. Everybody tells their favorite moment thing around the share circle, and like tears, like people are crying and emotional. That's cool. Wow. But also when you look around and nobody's talking with a person they came with, everybody has like a new best friend. That's so golden. So I was great people on the trip. So we did that podcast comparing Selway and Middle Fork. I don't want to get into it right now because it'll take over the show, but come on, the Middle Fork.
Zach, I know, but I knew you'd say that. And Zach, I have one question for you.
Yeah.
So if you get asked to go on a Selway again next year, are you going to say no and go on the Middle Fork instead?
That's a good question. I don't know. Depends on the people. It depends on the people.
Yeah, right.
Well, I mean, Aaron, I've done the Middle Fork. I just counted the other day. I've done it like about 65 times. I've done the Selway once. So like for me, it's novelty. It's different. And if it was the people I did the trip with this year, I would want to go back because they're really cool. I really like them. But I also love the Middle Fork. But I mean, come on.
Well pulled out. You pulled that out.
The answer, Aaron, the answer is the Selway because it's the thing that's harder to get. People always want the thing
because nobody's out there.
Aaron, slow down. We're gonna get into it. We don't need to. It's not a better trip.
It's totally a better trip. That's definitely. I will say, having just gone down there, and we were having a conversation. A bunch of people who work on the Middle Fork and the Selway, they're like, all of them were like, yes,
they're elitist.
We're gonna choose between the two.
No, that's elitist. That's elitist. It's just like, come on, really. The Middle Fork, has hot springs. The Middle Fork has the Impassable Canyon. It has better camps. I mean, the advantage of this, Aaron, I did 2 nights on the Middle Fork and then went straight to the Selway. So I had experienced Marble Left and Dolly Lake, 2 amazing camps, and then went straight to the Selway. We camped at the best camps in the Selway because you can camp wherever you want, and neither of them compared to either Marble Left or Dolly. At Marble Left, there's a surf wave at camp. We were literally surfing at camp the night before I went to the Selway, and I get to the Selway and we're like surrounded by mosquitoes the first night.
I don't know what to say about that. I've never had mosquito problems on the Selway. I will say there are more bugs on the Selway. The little Nassim ankle biters. Wear socks. Bring socks.
Yeah, wear socks and
wear a hoodie that you pull over your head to keep from getting bit.
Yeah, so you have to basically turn into Batman to survive the Selway.
You do, definitely.
They're different. They're different. They're different trips.
The there we go. All right.
Yeah, they're different trips.
Let's move on.
It's not getting. We'll be here forever. Let's go back. Hold on. Before I lose this question, do you ever take hardshell kayakers down the Fork? Yeah, sometimes. We prefer not to be honest with you. And people are like, well, I'll eat less food and I'll help cook and I'll charge me less. It's more work for us to take hardshell kayakers for a number of reasons. One is like we don't have hardshell guides on our trips. And so if you misrepresent your abilities and start swimming, you create problems for the rest of the trip. And we've had enough people lie to us about how good they are. And, we also have to get kayaks on trip. We have to get you a kayak, which the trip, we have a hardshell kayaker on the trip that launches tomorrow. Well, we're starting in India, and so we had to figure out how to fly his kayak in, and we couldn't. So we had to borrow a kayak from somebody. It's just a massive hassle getting kayaks to the river sometimes. So we do it, but it's not something I'm like jumping up and down for. If you wanted to kayak the Middle Fork with an outfitter, Canyons does a really good job. I call Canyons, and they usually put kayak guides on, which is a great way to go. And Don and Darcy, Small World Adventures, they book trips to Arta, and that's another option. And they can actually provide guiding, and they'll help organize their dates. Are dates where you don't have to fly stuff in potentially and create the headaches. But if you're the only kayaker on the trip, or there's only 2 of you, it's sometimes not safe. It's kind of tough.
Socially, it kind of sucks.
Yeah,
I feel like for that trip, you're like it's like 2 separate trips going on, and
we have like 4 families and then 2 kayakers, and the kayakers are like, I boofed this thing and surfed, and the families just want to play games and hang out and talk about the world. That happens too. So we have a group of kayakers that comes with every year. They become great friends. I always go on that trip. That's the trip I did. That's why I did the Middle Fork 2 days before the Selway, is because I wanted to spend 2 days with this group of kayakers that I really like. And they come with us every year. They become good friends. I stay in their house when I visit Boise. So we do take them, but we're hesitant. And yeah, that's a long answer. Sorry, I was long-winded there.
It can be messy for sure.
All right. So a lot. I realized I actually continue. Yeah. When I boat, I don't, in solo boating, I also compare to like leading people down rivers. When you're leading new people down rivers, you're kind of solo boating sometimes because they're not going to rescue you. And in that case, I take conservative lines. And then when I go out with all the good boaters, I can go goof off and have fun. But yeah, good point. +1 house. Okay, cool.
And the flows were good. Sean, I bet your friend who launched August 3rd still had good water.
Yeah. A lot of people launched on the Selway August 3rd. I talked to a few other people. Yeah, permit season's over. Like it's crowded probably down there.
Yeah, this is a good year for that.
If they pass up on me, cool. Is Alan the person? I don't know if that's the person who originally asked the question.
Alan, I think more people need to have that attitude about it too. Is like not expect it and be appreciative, like, oh, cool. Like it's like a gift when someone stops to help you. Yeah. But then also the people who stop to help realize that people may not want your help. On the other side, on the flip side is like, if you stop to help, people say, hey, do you guys want some help? And then if they say no, just stay out of the way.
Yeah. The extreme attempts to self-rescue. Yeah, me too. Like you need to self-rescue. If you can't self-rescue, you definitely shouldn't solo boat. That's just my opinion. Mm-hmm. We helped the people in the Middle Fork on Microbursts when blue as shelf had. Cool. It's probably fun to help a speedboat. because you get to like see it and get some bragging rights.
I'm gonna say once, but once happening multiple times per day for multiple days in a row, it gets a little old. Now, I mean, they were nice to give us some really nice bottles of wine, which made it go over better, but it still was, You should be able to drive your boat. You should not be getting stuck all the time on the river, and backing everyone else up, particularly as a commercial guide.
Yeah.
Like you said, it happens, but yeah.
Yeah, Brett. Sorry, I was just direct about it. Didn't mean to be like so direct, but with the kayaking.
No, but I think it's good because people just make these assumptions, and I've talked to them on the phone before, and they assume like, oh, hey, well, I'm not taking a spade and some raft. I'm making it easier on you guys, and you're like, actually,
it's harder for sure. Yeah. It's rarely easier. It's just one more thing for our guys to think about, and if you swim, your boat is now on a raft. Like now the rafts that are already kind of full. Now we have to store you and your boat on the raft. So we have to prepare space in case you can't keep boating, which is
rescuing hard shells is a lot harder than rescuing duckies. When they, like the duckies can usually self-rescue, flip back over, and you kind of have a routine. You know what you're going to do for that. Yeah.
Yeah. We're not set up to take, like we have to set up differently to take, sorry, I'm bringing something up right now to prepare for this next question. We're not set up well to take rescue kayaks. It's really hard from a raft. Kayaks.
I got a quick question for you. I'm going to share something. I want to hear. Maybe you've seen this before. I'm going to share a screen here, and you can tell me what you think about this.
Hey, by the way, I had to call Nolan and Arda today. I had a reason to call Nolan.
Oh yeah,
so I talked to Nolan for a little while. Pretty fun. I love Nolan. He's a great guy. And we talked about the question about letting people row on metaphor trips. I just finished a conversation like this one a few minutes ago. So I'm ready for this. Right. What are you showing me?
The aluminum ladder.
Yeah.
Aluminum raft ladder. Have you seen this?
Yeah. They're on Instagram.
Oh, really? I hadn't seen it before. Maybe you brought it up and I just forgot about it.
Yeah.
You can buy one, Zach, and it's
why?
It's $169 right here.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, I'm not gonna buy one.
You don't want one of these to climb up out of your raft?
Ooh. No. I know that guy, David Pauly, the guy who it's gone now. The person before, I know that guy, I boat with that guy. Yeah, I think they're controversial. Are you gonna buy one, Aaron?
No, because I don't have a raft frame to tie it to.
Yeah.
So no, I don't need one.
Are you trying to goat me into a conversation here? What?
No, I just thought this was interesting. I saw this and I came across this and I was like, I mean, it looks kind of cool in some ways. I'm just trying to figure out like if there were some advantages to it.
Yeah, the advantage is if you fall out, you can get back in your boat.
Like, yeah, a bunch of kids. Maybe if I have a kids trip and I don't want to have to keep, the kids are jumping in all the time. You have to keep pulling back in the raft. Then I think it'd be kind of fun.
If it's class 1 and not a potential hazard, or class 2, yeah, that makes sense. I think it's a trade-off. It's a potential hazard. You can get your leg caught in there, whatever. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. You can pull the other solution is get back in the raft on your own. If you can't do that, have somebody pull you in.
Can we before? Oh, this is from Michael's question. Good. Okay.
So now we're under rowing our metaphor trips. I'd like to get some East Coast non-boater family on a trip, but don't have the support boats to run for myself that size. I want to row. We do it sometimes. It's so tricky. And the reason it's hard is we have people who have done it, and we've had some really weird social things for sure, but they can't maintain our pace, or they can't run a 21-mile day. And then what do? Do you make everybody else wait if the person that can't keep up, and that person can ruin the trip for some people, and it's not fair to others.
There's a lot of problems. Zach, do you let other people ride in that person's raft?
We don't ever.
Yeah, so the first problem is you can't let other people ride in the raft because they don't have a commercial license. It creates problems like that. And then you talk about boat spacing, boat order. Sometimes it works amazing. Some people are really good at it and do a really good job of it, but then other people are all over the place, and it's very frustrating for the guides. Or they come back like, hey man, this wasn't safe. This person wasn't listening.
It happens a lot.
What they need to. With the duckies, if someone's not whistling with the ducky, you're just like, hey, we're pulling the duckies out. We're rolling. You're like, you guys aren't listening. We're not comfortable with this. And you don't have that same option with the raft. So it's, and like you said,
there's the transportation of the raft to put in and take out, right? How do you get it to put in? How do you get it from taking? So it's not only you buying this trip from us, you're creating a really expensive shuttle for yourself. And there's one more thing that's kind of messy about it.
Well, I think, and if you don't book out the whole trip, like it's one thing if you booked out the whole trip and then you're impacting the trip, but if you haven't booked out the whole trip,
you could be impacting other people's trips.
Yeah, you're impacting a lot of times that can happen.
So I'm going to go through this really quick. This is on our website. It's hidden. It's our website /salmon/row. Can I do it? Maybe. What's it like? It's continuous class 3. Where if you're not sure, then don't do it. If you're not sure you can row the entire river, we can't have you come on the trip and like it's like you being tested. Like if you're not sure you can make it, you can't do it. Like you have to be well below your level, your boating ability, so you don't impact the trip.
Zach, I really like your NWRC rowing school little thing there. That's really cool. Do you have a patch for that?
No, not yet. That's a logo I haven't shown many people. It's kind of hidden.
That's really cool logo. I like that one.
How do you get my boat to the river? That's another thing. Like, how do you get it there? That's something to think about. Shuttles are expensive. You have to take some more time. What do I need? Everything. Can I have passengers? No.
There you go.
On the river, the key here is you need to follow the instructions from the guides. Some people want to row their own boat and they're used to private trips so they can like stop where they want. And once you're on a trip with us, we're responsible for your safety. Like we have responsibility. So if you do something and then you get hurt, then we have responsibility. So we have to be annoying, and we might tell you can't wear your beat up Astral PFD. And you're going to be like, what? I can't. You have to follow rules that we think are important for safety, and our rules for safety might be different than your rules for safety. People are like, oh, can I help in the kitchen? Nope. If your equipment fails, we're going to fly you out and you're going to pay for that flight. If people want to leave early and go at their own pace, they can't do that. And to repair, do a rowing class with us, practice. I would say like you would want to be like a solid class 4 boater and not like Selway class 4 or whatever, like class 4.
What do you mean by Selway?
I'm just kidding. That was a joke on you.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you don't need to be that good is what you're saying.
Yeah. No, you need to be like a class 4. You have to boat a level above the middle fork. So like the Selway, like if you've done a Selway, no problem. That's like a level that's class 4. So like doesn't mean you've done a class 4 rapid on the Deschutes once or Ren Blossom Bar. You definitely want to be a solid class 4 boater.
Yeah.
All right. Hopefully I answered that question.
Can we go to the next one? I'm really excited to talk about this next one.
Okay. Do I have it up there? Here we go.
Oh no, sorry. The M Silva. Yeah, his. So I can see how you say it's not his mistake, but microbursts happen all the time, first of all. And things happen all the time on the river, and you should be responsible to get your boat off the rocks on your own without another group's help. So, like, I can understand what you're saying. It's not his fault, but it is. Like they're deciding to travel downstream by themselves. They need to be responsible to get their boats off by themselves. Yeah. Like that's my big issue. It's irresponsible boating in my mind. Need help from other people.
They don't need help. The M Silva just offered to help.
No, that's the difference. If they don't need help, I'm fine with it. But we'll go back to my experience where they needed help.
Yeah, you just had a bad experience. You're probably exaggerating a little bit, Aaron. You tend to exaggerate about this kind of stuff.
No,
you didn't. They did not purposefully go in front of Arda just so you had to pull them off rocks.
They didn't go purposely in front of us. But
this is. Hey, by the way, I want to let my friends on the way know this is libel. Sue Aaron for libel right now. You're making things up, Aaron.
No, I'm not. The other group, their group hangs back. They get to camp late, and they make sure to give space because they knew.
Okay. Anyway,
but going back to it, I think that this is going back to the solo boating thing. It's like you have the responsibility to take care of yourself, and that's cool. You help them, and I think that's great. And that's not. I don't have a problem with that. But I do have a problem with if they couldn't rectify the situation by themselves and they're boating alone. I think that's inappropriate, I guess, or it's not good practice. It's not best practices, I guess I'd say. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no. When I'm in a speedboat and I get blown to the shore, when private boaters go by, I'm like, no, I'm good. Keep going. I don't want to. I don't really want to affect their trip. They're on their own thing. And if I get, I just wait for the wind to die. And if I don't have camp set up when the guests get there, that's part of running the Middle Fork. They don't have to have their hand wash set up and their bags on the shore. Then I get there and we come together as a team. Wow, that was a crazy day. It was windy. I need everybody's help to unload all the stuff today. I don't have to get to camp before my trip. It's windy. I got blown to the side. Now, if some private boaters came by that I knew and we really want to help you, I'd be like, cool, let's do this. But generally, I'd be like, no, you're on vacation. Go to Sunflower Hot Springs instead of helping me, or go enjoy your trip. I'm good. That'd be my attitude.
Yeah.
Does solo rafting include if you only have one raft with rescue gear? I think it's sorry. I mean, a group of guys in one boat. This is worse. I think one person in one boat is tolerable. Once you add two people in a boat, then if you flip, you have two swimmers. Right. If there's 6 people in the boat,
to have 2 people in the boat.
It depends on who the 2 people are, I guess. We've had this talk before.
Yes, we have.
If it's Aaron, if it's me and you, it's probably better to have 2 of us in the boat, right? Because we can help each other. We can both swim well. But if you put 6 people that aren't experienced in a boat, and then you have a flip, then you have 6 victims and not many rescuers. So I think it depends on your rescuer to swimmer ratio, right? If it's 6 Swiftwater Rescue Class 5 guides, that's better than 5. But if it's 1 guide or 2 guides and 3 people who are just along for the ride that don't know anything, that's a problem.
Now I'm going to say, I think initially having 1 person by themselves is more dangerous than having 2 in general. But then 5 versus 6, it kind of goes the other direction.
Depends on the 2. Actually, there's a fair number of fatalities that were 2 guys rowing somebody else down the river.
I can see that.
They flip, and then the guy just self-rescues, and the person just goes.
Yeah.
So that's
I agree with that premise as well. But I think
I'm intimately familiar with one of these things. The times that happened when there was 2 of them in a boat, they flipped. The person who knew what they were doing held on to the boat and lived, and the person that had no experience just kept swimming downstream, and that was the end. So I think in that case, 1 person's better. But if it was me and you, and I knew how to swim to shore, and I knew how to avoid strainers, and I could self-rescue, yeah, it's probably better to have 2 of us, just in case.
Yeah, totally.
For a ladder, use the NRS strap with a bike grip.
For your foot. That's an interesting idea, Brian.
Oh, step on it. Interesting.
Yeah. We'll
slide underneath the raft. We don't want to put SDG River Gear ladders out of business though, so slow down. But we do want to support NRS because we want to have NRS be our sponsor of our show. So I'm going to say, good idea. Buy lots of NRS straps and support.
Zach, why NRS?
Support our theoretical sponsor.
Why don't we go for downriver equipment? They're great. They do a great job. They have great camp straps. They sell good gear. Why NRS? Why is everyone so NRS happy? Why don't we ever talk about downriver equipment?
Downriver equipment's great too. Just NRS has the deep pockets.
Downriver equipment isn't quite as rich. Is that what we're hearing?
Yeah. I don't know if they're going to sponsor us.
Well, NRS has it. So we've been trying to get them for a while. So maybe.
But NRS does sponsor people. There's professional kayakers and stuff that are have NRS in their helmets and stuff. So, I think downriver has ambassadors, but not they don't actually. It's hey, here's a free downriver sticker and some 10% off coupons. I want the deep pocket.
So what do you consider sponsorship? How many figures are we talking about? 4 figures?
No, I would take 1 figure to start. Just so we could say we're sponsored by NRS. Because there's I would take 1 figure.
Okay.
Any strap. Yeah, I know any strap would work, Brian, but come on, NRS straps, because we want them to sponsor the show. We should be promoting their stuff.
He said NRS strap.
Yeah, we want to show NRS how good of a sponsor we could be.
But Brian, don't you think the downriver equipment straps would be even better?
I mean, the big advantage of the downriver equipment straps is they don't say NRS all over them. NRS, I like straps that don't have branding all over them. So, yeah, good point, Aaron. Maybe downriver. Let's look them up.
I mean, I'm trying to cam strap. I'm looking at the
cam strap. Should we get sponsored by downriver equipment? Downriver equipment.
Downriver equip. Yeah. I mean, their straps look okay.
Are you looking at the straps right now?
Yeah, the material doesn't look that awesome.
I mean, look at them. They're running rivers without leaving a trace. They care about the environment.
Yeah, that sounds good.
They have soy ores. This is us practicing. Look how great they are. They have a river running clinic.
Ooh.
You can buy and sell used gear. I bet NRS doesn't do that. I don't know. Maybe
They
do.
used to do it. I think, didn't they? I don't think they do it anymore.
Yep. Yeah, maybe we'll get sponsored by Downriver Equipment. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. That's a nice website.
Where's their straps?
They're sponsored by NRS though. That's kind of weird.
Who's sponsored by NRS?
Go to the bottom. They had the NRS little logo at the bottom. When you just went down to the bottom, they showed NRS's logo at the bottom.
Oh, that's cool. That's not sponsored by them. They sell their products. This is their products they sell.
I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
All right. Anyway, back to the show. Hit up Cascade. Yeah, no, Cascade River gear is sweet too.
That's a good one too. Cascade. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I think there's other options out there. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we'll basically take whoever gives us money first, but I'm really shooting for NRS because they have the deep pockets.
By the way, I have to go in 15 minutes. So.
All right, we got to go fast then.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Salmon Source to Sea Kayak Expedition is a valid reason to get sponsored. Like us just sitting here talking on YouTube is not a valid reason to get sponsored. So I'm glad they sponsored that thing. Yep.
Cascade, man, everyone likes Cascade.
Yep. Stamped on the buckles. Yeah, it's cool. Need to break into the video market like NRS has. I think they would be more likely. All right. Well, we'll have a strategy session later. We got to get to the show.
That's a good point, Mark Rivers. They do need some video.
They need us.
Yeah, they need us.
Yeah, I don't think it's the video market the reason NRS is so successful, but I could be wrong. I think it's price. I think NRS has the best price. All right, let's finish this. We got to finish this show up quick. Doesn't rely on others, definitely not strangers, and West Thousand affair of the boaters. If you have in the past, it should be fine. We can afford people. Yeah, I mean, that's a very karma approach. If you help others, they'll just happen to help you. But I mean, I'm more of like I believe in karma less. I think, just because you help people others out doesn't mean it's going to automatically come back to you.
But I also think that means that you're bringing the proper gear to be able to effect a rescue, and you have that gear with you, versus those people who just go out there and be like, "Oh, someone will help me if I have a problem." Yeah, not so. And I'll help them too, but I don't really bring anything to help people. But I'll help them. I'm there for them. So. Yeah. Sean, great point. Yes, we are sponsored. Yep. We have a lot of sponsors, and you're right. You guys are giving us more than $1. So, Zach, we should be a little embarrassed at the moment.
I'm giving away prizes if anybody can figure out the answer to this trivia question.
Maybe we need to sometime thank all of our sponsors.
We do every show, Aaron.
Like every single one of them one day. Maybe we
individually.
Like just name them all, or maybe we need to have we can just put up like a screen with all of our sponsors. A little screen. Thanks for all our sponsors with all their names or something like that.
Look, Sean's name next to his name, he has a little thing.
You're right. It shows it right there. Everyone can tell who the sponsors are. All right, you can see the sponsors. We already advertised it. Good point. That's great.
Yeah, Sean, I'm with you on this. I do green is 6 foot. I do light blue is 4 foot.
So what happens when you break a strap? Do you just throw it away?
No, I keep using it, but I eventually. Sometimes a light blue one is 3 feet, or a green one is 2 feet sometimes, but same thing when the NRS ones are labeled. When you have a 6 foot NRS and it's like,
do you ever resew all the time on the cam straps?
All the time
on the
I have 20 of them in my truck right now. I just picked up when I was in Idaho. I cut old ones off. I'm gonna get them resewn tomorrow. Yeah, see, Aaron, we do thank you. Thank you for noticing it. We thank you.
Good.
Carbon fiber frames. Would it be possible? Possible. I don't think it's a good idea. All right, let's move on from solar rafting. Carter Creek. Avid rafter and hiker seen a clip from 2 years ago, wondering where to find info on the hike to Carter Creek, parking and or forest roads. Okay. I think he's talking about Carter Creek, so I have my phone ringing, in the Chetco. Let's bring up this website that helps me find things called google.com. And we'll type in hiking to Carter Creek, Chetco River, and see what we find. Hiking. Oh, what do you know? Let's see if this is a blog one of my guides wrote about hiking in. There's a pretty good description of it, and here's some route descriptions. So I'm not going to answer this question directly. I'm not going to read these articles, but I would say use Google and type in what did I type in again? Type in
What was
hiking
the
to.
question?
It was, oh yeah,
hiking to Carter Creek, Chetco River. Yeah,
scenic clip. So he wants to find parking into forest roads. So I would go to google.com and type in hiking to Carter Creek, Chetco River, and use the internet and answer that question.
Well done, Zach. Great answer.
Thanks. I don't have it memorized. I don't have my map in front of me. If I had the map in front of me, I would say Forest Road, 9712, park here, but I don't have my map in front of me. And Aaron, you have to go in 10 minutes. I'm trying to go fast.
No, let's go fast. Totally.
I know you were slammed, but I need some advice. I am slammed. This is a rough time to get questions for me, to be honest with you guys. And so that's why we do the show, because I take this time to answer questions and hang out with Aaron. And the live show is really fun for us, like these live shows. So this is actually like a nice break for me. But so thanks for recognizing that I'm slammed. I did the Middle Fork last week and hated my airline on it. Is an airline a catboat?
I'm gonna pull it up. I don't know.
I think it's like a 14-foot catboat. Hated my airline.
Well, there's the airline 14-foot, 16-foot.
Yeah.
There's both. Yeah.
I mean, I think we've talked about this a lot on our shows before. Like, take a raft. Rafts are better.
No, he's asking. He's saying.
Oh, sorry. I'm looking at raft and really struggling between I-beam and drop stitch.
Raft floor.
All right. So he's asked the question. Sorry, I got too early. The question is, does he want I-beam or drop stitch? I've always used I-beams. I like I-beam floors. They work great. Drop stitches are cool, and it's a flat surface, so you can just stand on it, and it feels really good.
Living out of an I-beam drop stitch floor is way nicer if you want your feet to stay dry or on a lot of cold rivers. But in terms of the I-beam for the tracking is way better. The drop stitch is way better to live out of. If you're looking for performance rafting, I love I-beam floors.
But here's a trick I learned. I had a long discussion about because people say that drop stitches don't track well. If you deflate let me finish, Aaron. Just relax. If you deflate the floors a little bit, they will track.
They track better.
Then
why don't you just have an I-beam floor if you're gonna make them all soft?
You have to make them all soft. Just like you can change. You don't have to fill them up all the way. Like let some air out, they'll track better.
They track better. So what's the advantage of the drop stitch floor if you have let the air out of it? Why is it better than an I-beam? Why would you choose that over the I-beam floor?
The other disadvantage of the drop stitch is when you blow a hole in the floor, there's all these strings inside. I mean, drop stitch is, this is the floor. There's all kinds of strings holding it together. And so if you put a hole in the floor, you can tear the strings. You can create kind of a mess in there. If water gets in there, it's a real mess. It's hard to get the water out and dry the strings out. So tearing a drop stitch floor kind of sucks.
The other advantage I think of the drop stitch floor is a lot of times they don't have pressure relief valves.
Interesting.
Which means
it's kind of nice.
You don't have to worry about them getting like Grand Canyon. I always take a Moravia with the drop stitch, and it always gets surfed off.
Even though it doesn't track.
And I get annoyed because it surfs off the waves weird, and I get frustrated with it. Yeah. But it's mostly the 90% flat water, which. Okay, whatever. And then when I get to camp, my feet are never wet when I'm getting out of my boat, and I never have to top off the floor.
Yeah.
Because other ones, I always feel like somewhere during the trip, my valve's getting messed up, and I'm spending like a bunch of time trying to clean up that valve.
There's the relief valve gets sand in it, and it's releasing, so you have to pump it up all the time to fix a relief valve. Hey, one thing we did last week to fix it, we had a relief valve we knew had sand in it. Like use your pump and just really push hard on the pump. So put the pump in, get it at volume, and just do some really quick strokes and just force air out of the relief valve.
Yeah, totally.
So I used to always just take them out and clean them. Instead, try to force air and it'll push the sand out. And that actually worked for us last week.
Well, sometimes I'll do too, Zach, which is probably not best. I'll just hit the little relief valve, just go as someone's pumping it. And so you hit it and it kind of distributes it and makes it pop out more too. Yep. But I don't want to do too much because I don't want to blow the I-beam. But I agree. And sometimes I'll try to I'll just blow into the relief valve too the other way just to try to blow some of the sand out.
Yep. So I'm going to say I-beam Drop stitch is fine. I mean, if you're gonna get a Moravia, you're gonna get a drop stitch. Moravias are great boats. You can't go wrong with a Moravia. It's a great boat. Just deal with the drop stitch. There's advantages and disadvantages. I'm gonna say more disadvantages than advantages with drop stitch. I'm sure a Moravia salesman will tell you I'm wrong. But getting a Moravia is amazing.
I think the bigger question is whether or not you're going to roll the raft. If you're going to roll the raft, don't get a drop stitch because you don't want a Moravia. If you're not going to roll the raft, it doesn't matter. So I think that's a big.
If you're going to roll the raft, well, I mean, the drop stitch. If you're going to
roll the raft regularly, don't get a drop stitch floor because the drop stitch floors are basically Moravias.
It's not the, it's not the drop stitch floor's fault. It's Moravia's fault.
Exactly.
So if you're going to roll, no, let me phrase it. If you're going to get, because I think he's deciding between Moravia and something else. If you're going to roll your boat a lot, don't get a Moravia.
Yeah.
If you're going to run a trailer and park it in a garage, a Moravia is great.
And they're super tough boats. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's finish up. You only have like 5 minutes. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Why are they? Sorry, I shouldn't laugh at this. That's not funny. Sorry, I take that back. We got to delete this part of the show. This is funny.
No, I think a lot of private boaters have problems under 2 feet.
Yeah.
Not all, but a lot more do, and it's more challenging for sure.
Yeah. There are a lot of great private boaters that crush below 2 feet.
And I think the better question is, why do certain private boaters decide to go on the mill fork under 2 feet with really heavy boats and way too much gear?
And I just want to be clear, there are a lot of commercial companies that don't do well below 2 feet either.
Yeah.
So you're gonna find me stuck on a rock for an hour when I'm there in a couple of weeks. So the thing is, it's not private versus commercial. It's really good boaters versus sketchy boaters, and there's sketchy boaters on both sides, and there's really good boaters on both sides. And so, I mean, there's some private boaters that crush it under 2 feet, and so, but there's some that they really, really struggle. It takes them 4 days to get to Indy, then they have to fly out, and they have the worst trip of their lives. So people should be warned a little bit.
Yeah, it's not a bad question, actually. In that regard.
It's a bad question. This is stereotype. They're not always. This isn't always the case. They're not all.
Not always, but we have all seen those trips out there, Brett.
We know
those. What you're talking about. We've all seen those trips out there. Yeah.
And I've been a train wreck too. I've gotten stuck. I've needed help. It's guides end up helping for sure. Everybody helps. Rocky Mountain offers a drop stitch. Good. That's true. India first on the section. Oldest to run the river. Ooh, oldest to run the river is you're on the right track, but
youngest to run the river.
Hey, Aaron. Oh, yeah. I sorry, I didn't read it. Sorry, I thought you were giving it away. Just taking shots here. Yeah, I mean, you're on the right track.
And yes,
crush it. See, mic drop, Sean. Is there a mic drop icon? All right, we got to go. You got to go here soon, Aaron. We got through our questions. Let's save this India question for Friday.
I think some people are going to need to do some research, and someone's going to come back with the answer.
Yep. I actually know a lot about this story. I have have I told you this story, Aaron? About how I know a lot about India?
Yes, you have. Yes, you have told me the story. Yes.
I know a lot of. I have a lot of background info in this question, so I'd like pushing this off to the Friday show. As we finish up, thank you guys for paying attention, asking questions, handling Aaron and I. Now, we're not being naive and entitled on purpose this week. It just happened accidentally. I think we were pretty entitled and naive this week, Aaron.
I'm doing my best.
Usually on the Q&A show, we try to be a little more serious and sincere, but we came off a little naive and entitled. So, but on Friday, we do our actual naive and entitled show. And so please join us for that at 2 p.m. I got a lot of cool stuff planned. And the question is, Sean, before we go, and we'll do this on Friday. Well, I don't need to ask it again because the less people know, the better. We'll move this question to Friday. And this is the trivia question for the day. Howder, thanks for joining. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Guys, Aaron, we have 8,200 followers.
Wow.
We're striking distance to 10 million. So everybody, take a second, slap the subscribe button while we play the goodbye music. And I have one more, before we go, I have one more thing to ask you about.
Okay, great. Thanks.